Alright, so hopefully you're all in the right place. I'm going to skip some stuff because I didn't know Eli was going to do some of those things. First of all, I hate taking notes as a student, so these are all going to be shared. If you don't want carpal tunnel and want to pay attention to me rather than the slide deck, you can just ask me or Eli. You can email this PDF.
Totally.
Okay, so thank you all for coming out, first of all. That's always nice to see so many people. Who's me? This is my email. I'm always open to questions. When I started off in photography, I had no one to go to, so please, email is best. I hate the phone. Any of my clients know they're never going to call me. It's not going to happen. Schedule Skype calls. After that, clickers. Okay. So I have a website. It's kurtisstewart.com. I don't go under like captured or like frozen essence or anything. I think that's too hokey. And I'm the most important part of the process because I'm a narcissist, so it's my name. Okay. I've been a freelance photographer since 2007. I graduated from the Langara full-time program, which is pretty much 6 in the morning until 12 at night for 2 years of your life. I went to school for 2 years, so I could be behind the camera rather than in front of it. Anybody ask me about photogenicy? I've been teaching since 2011. I teach the Langara Continuing Studies program, the full-time program now, Vancouver Film School, Camp Tech, here. I do corporate training. So I've been doing this for a while. I teach ultimate frisbee, I teach swimming, biking, all the things. I just like to teach. I happen to know a little bit about photography. So the way I teach, I'm not just going to give you guys step 1 through 12. I think that little bit of where you struggle with it is where the learning happens. So if you ask me any questions afterward, I'll be like, what have you tried? If you go, I'll be like, kind of lame. Okay? So I actually do take images. I don't make slides with text only. This is the 9/11 memorial in New York in 2014. I was over there shooting this across from Brooklyn. I basically just sat on my camera on their version of the seawall over there. It took this over 30 seconds, which is why we have this wonderful blur to the clouds. After that, we've got some other work. I'm just going to stand over here. Okay, after that, we've got the Vernon Polson Tower. So this is a hospital project done in Kelowna and Vernon over 3 years. So rather than flying the financing company over every 6 to 8 months, I went up there with my camera, followed the project manager around, captured the whole thing. This is the Creekside Community Center gym. This is right after the Olympics when the floor started being super nice. It does not look like this now. This is about 112 images all stitched together. This is Rachel Cheng in New York. She was a fashion designer collecting some stuff from the wonderful flea markets out there. So we just kind of walked around by Dumbo and got her some nice images for her press kit. Generic CEO on the right, Ray Su, poet, and VR lab coordinator at UBC on the left. I like talking to interesting people, and any photographer, of course, does headshots. So, yeah, it pays rent.
We have a question back here.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You're right in the middle of
My head is gigantic. I can sit. I've got a big head. I know that. Better?
Yes.
Fabulous. Cool. So I also do event coverage. This is RTX's new offices. They had a staff party. They're super cool. So they invite things like Cirque in, which is super fun. I get to go to really cool things and hide behind my camera, which is ideal. I also have really athletic friends that are way sportier than me. This is Edgar. He's one of those Ironman triathlete people. You could drive there, Edgar. He disagrees, so he bikes, swims, and runs really, really far. So throughout this, just like that, if you have questions, please fire away. This is not Netflix. I don't want to just be going for the next hour and 15 minutes. I will. I absolutely will. But if you are unsure about something or I mentioned something that I've probably mentioned in one of my other classes and make assumptions about, please do interrupt me. We kind of already did introductions, so we're going to skip that. So today, you're going to understand photographic composition and how to tell a story in images. Most of my classes are anywhere from the 10 to 12 week range. I have like an hour and 15 minutes. So this is super fun, which is why I signed up. I'm like, let's build an hour and 15 minute class. Challenges are good. So basic photographic composition. Also, it was inevitable that I was going to offend someone tonight, and I thought I'd start early. Sorry, the vegans in the room. So I'm going to mention a whole bunch of rules, but photography rules are exactly like ingredients to chefs. This is not a checklist to have in every single photograph you take. If you use one ingredient really, really well, it can be a good meal, it can be a great photograph. If you use all these ingredients, you have to keep everything at the right temperature, put things in a certain order, and it's very, very complicated. It can be done. Each one of these rules on their own is a really, really strong composition tool, okay? So no matter what, we're stuck with 2D. It's going to be printed, it's going to be on a billboard, it's going to be on a website, on a laptop screen. So composition is what helps give things that 3D, that depth to them. If they're lit properly, they'll actually look like they're going to stand out from the page. If you shoot with your on-camera flash, which you should never ever do, unless you're in a super ridiculous situation, it flattens out. On-camera flash. So whatever's on your camera, that goes off. That kills all the form that's on your subject, and that's why every photo looks like a passport photo. Okay? We read images like books, no matter what. North American train, we read from the top left to the bottom right. So over here, everybody's heard of Lululemon, hopefully. If you haven't, you're in the wrong class. The clicker's working. This is the best. Okay. Yeah, my Red Bull and Fall Corner in person. So this is one of their ads. So our eyes start up here at the top left. We go all the way across just like we would with a book. We cheat down the bottom, which is why in every magazine ad, you'll see the logo here. Because what they want you to do is take in this whole image, whether it's a model, their super shiny product, their really fast car, and at the end of that, you associate this brand with the image that you just looked over. It's a very psychological thing, but that's how we read things. Okay? Right. So if you passed out in the last 15 seconds, basically, composition makes images really, really easy. You've all seen terrible signage and ad campaigns. There's too many elements on there. Composition makes it really simple, so there's 2 or 3 things a viewer needs to look at and they get the concept right away. It's a distance thing. So, visual elements of composition over here. First of all, shape. Shape is what makes things look 2D. How many trees are in this photograph? You're counting. Okay? There's a couple. But who cares, because the only tree we're really looking at is this gigantic one. We understand the rest of them are trees. We don't need to read every single branch and thing here. It's really simple for us to view. Over here, form. This is what makes things look 3D. So up here you can tell these are actually rocks on a table. And how can we tell that? Because we've got a shadow overlapping from this one over here, and we've got highlights on the edges over here. So it actually pops out of the page with that little simple highlight and shadow. If you shot this with your on-camera flash, you wouldn't see, they would look like a flat chessboard. There'd be no tone, no depth to them whatsoever. Okay? Texture, again, comes down to light. We can all feel like if you wiped over this wall, what that paint would feel like crackling off in our hand. Again, shot with on-camera flash, terrible, you're going to lose all that texture. How many tulips are here? Anybody? The answer is, who cares? But again, since there's 2 simple elements here, green and the tulips on the top, arguably pink or magenta. If there's any designers in the room, I'm just going to bastardize your job for a bit. It's really simply read by the fact not every one of those stems is a different color. It's not a rainbow. It's very simply, there's a bottom of the frame that's green, top of the frame that's pink, magenta. Super, super quick for our eyes to go over. So, really quickly, that's everything we just talked about. Again, this slide deck's going to be so helpful for you guys. So compositional elements. This is kind of where we place our camera in the world. We love patterns. Line, for example, we like to figure out where things are going. So if we had a person, subject, product, we'd put right here. Because even if you follow this line all the way in, your eye's getting led back to the center frame here. Okay? We love pattern as humans. We like to figure out the puzzle, no matter what it is. Rhythm and pattern, you can do this through repetition, through products, through people in a group. If you've ever seen people marching at a parade or something like that, all of that example of rhythm and pattern, again, we like to have that really quick read of an image. Everybody's seen this photo. Who's taken this photo? Don't be shy, I know you have. Or just nobody travels. This is just a very Vancouver group. So this is a really corny example, but is really important in photography because in all likelihood, your subject hasn't been where that photograph is taken. So they need some sense of proportion or scale to give a setting to see how big that window, that building, that door is. So more serious examples here. If we didn't have the coffee cup in this photograph, it'd be really hard to tell how big that window is. It could be as big as a theater. It could be as small as like a little cat door. We don't know, but the coffee cup is something we know for human scale. We put that in, all of a sudden, much easier to read. Okay? Higher end commercial photography example. This is Emma Pita's work. She's a wonderful architecture photographer. So if she didn't have these models kind of working their way through here, we wouldn't have as good a sense of scale in this image of how big this pool is, how far back they are. So it can be a really helpful tool. You can use people or just everyday objects like pocket change. So balance. Balance makes images really simple to read because you basically copy stuff top to bottom. There's no new information here below this line. It's just a reflection, so it's really, really fast to read. Again, composition, we're trying to make it easier on our viewer. So by repeating the top and bottom here, we've chopped out all this visual information, so now it's really easy to put text or copy down here if you're doing cover photos, things like that. To all the people taking notes, thank you so much. It feels good. Perspective. So I get to ask who the shortest person in the room is. Anybody care to share their height? Nobody. Killing me. Okay. I'm going to assume the shortest person in the room here is probably 5'2", 5'3". I would argue I'm the tallest person here at 6'5". So in between both of those heights, there's only a foot difference. So where you place the camera when you're looking straight forward is really, really important because the whole world is only a difference from here to here if you shoot straight forward. If you go shoot kids or pets, which I charge double for, I immediately go on the ground because that's where their perspective is. That's where the kid sees the world from, that's where the dog sees the world from. So that gives people a much nicer engagement point because typically people don't put their faces here. So if they see a photograph shot from the floor, then that's different. I've never seen the world from this way. What does a bus stop look like? What does a fire hydrant look like? All these different things. Okay? Consequently, bird's eye view. So let's see an example of this with a really cute dog. So, semi-cute dog, right? So over here, this is like his LinkedIn shot. He's an accountant. This is the article about the dog attack in the Surrey newspaper. Over here, this is like the SPCA Adopt Me photograph. And the only difference between all three of those photographs is a 5-foot difference in height. No change in background, no change in lighting, just where the camera is actually placed. Okay, so don't walk around and shoot your events at 5-foot blank. Figure out where you can get higher or where you can get lower. So rule of thirds. Who's heard of the rule of thirds before? Half of you. Good. This is probably the most prominent rule out there, so I've got tons of examples. Basically, you chop your image up into thirds. We all did like grade 10 algebra. We know 33% of things. Okay. So you either place your horizon line here at the bottom third or the top third. What that does is create a visual hierarchy in the image. So the bottom is 33% and the top is 66%. So is this photo more about the grass or the sky? Who thinks sky? Yes? Okay, cool. Because again, if it was 51-49, it'd be really tough to determine what the photographer wants us to look at. So we're forcing that perspective and saying, no, this is about the sky, generic user number 822. Okay? Again, we can place objects here at those intersecting points. So if you have anything interesting, this is where you want it to be. If you only listen to one thing I say tonight, put stuff under these crosses and your photographs will get automatically better. Okay, we've got a rabbit on one of those crosses. We've got an iconic Vancouver, I call it the Staple. I'm sure there's a way more interesting artist installation name for it. It's the Staple. If you're shooting people, same thing. Nook Shook, yes, it's super generic Vancouver, but that's what you get for a Vancouver class. Framing is another element we can use. You can see the frame actually ends over on the right-hand side over here and on the left-hand side here. But again, we're chopping off how much people actually need to read here because it's underexposed as comparison. You can shoot through a window outside or through a window back inside and chop off what the viewer actually needs to look at, edge to edge. So, all the stuff we went over. Anybody missed a spot while I was ripping through this? Because I'd rather have you guys work on a photo story I give opinions to than me talk about rules all night. Clocking at 12 minutes. Fabulous. Okay? So let's talk about how to create a story with images. So has anyone made a storyboard before? Couple people? Okay, cool. So we guessed how many of you would show up. We didn't think you'd be as keen. So if I don't have one of these for you, I'm so sorry. You can share with a buddy. But let's get at least like partner up and share these across all the table. We get them back. Okay? So you can do a story about anything in Vancouver. This is a day where the temperature inversion happened and I walked through Vancouver all fogged up. It's just something interesting to look at. Over here, this is Chris and Matt's engagement shoot up at Rainbow Lake in Whistler. This is a bike race, which we'll go into a little bit more. Weddings, of course, there's always plenty of stories within that, and you always love it when a wedding planner creates something like this for the first dance. Oh my god, I love philosophy. If anybody's getting married, hire philosophy. They're fantastic. Okay? So why does storytelling matter? If I didn't offend you with the TURBACONDUCKEN picture, this is going to offend the next people. The reason storytelling matters is because of Mr. Pimp Good Game. He has a very popular Instagram feed, that is just his face over and over and over and over again. There's nothing interesting here, but he actually has like in the hundreds of thousands of followers because it's this big internet joke. All he does every day is he takes a selfie in his car over and over again. He's basically an influencer based on this, which is sad for me as like a working professional, but I get over it. Okay, so visual representation is technically boring. His photography should not be working, but it is because of the internet. So this is my photography man crush, Jake Stengel. We've got a whole bunch of variety here. We've got a really close-up shot of eggs, a really wide shot over here of a bike on a really cool path. 3 people on like the top of some mountain, some really cool mountain with fog on it. Cows, yay, more mountains. There's a lot of different things on each single image, so this is a feed you would want to go back to and check repeatedly because something new is going to be on there. Okay? So you can either be this guy or you can be this guy. Please be this guy instead. Okay, so good storytelling increases engagement. If you're telling something interesting to your users, it's not just going to be the same 3 stock photographs you bought from iStock 2 years ago, because that's when you convinced your president give you some money to do that with. The more variety you've got for your users, you're showing them something new. So you've got new content, like you're writing a new article, but it's the same old image. People are going to look at that image and be like, well, I've already read this. They used this cover photo the last time I read about housing or application processes or whatever it is your nonprofit or small business does. Okay? So have an idol. If you're already not creeping someone on Instagram, you're doing it wrong. My man crush, as I mentioned, is Jake Stengel. He currently lives in San Francisco. Not that I stalk him too much. If I ever bump into him, though, I'll know where to keep my eye out for him. He's got a great book. If you want to look at how to shoot a photo story and you've already exhausted my portfolio, go look at Jake Stengel's book. Each project is such an amazing photo story. I try and shoot to his standard on every job I get hired for. So, for example, this is him shooting for Rafa. For any cyclists in the room, it's a really high-end European cycling campaign. They have like $500 jeans that have reflective strips inside them, and you look like you're at the club. They're very nice. But again, all of these are about bike wear. But again, the bike wear in this is super tiny. That backpack is like 2% of the frame. So over here as we go through, there's all these little moments. See, fancy reflective strap, patent pending, Rafa. Sometimes it's about the people. Again, you read this image, and where's the cyclist? He's down here in this little tiny corner, so it's not always about your subject. Change the distance from where you're taking pictures. People have a tendency to stay 6 feet away from people, and then they do this orbit like a sprint. Yes. Good, yeah. No variety there. Whereas if I stay 1 foot away, 5 feet away, and don't trip over something, and then 10 feet away, I'm getting way more variety out of that movement, rather than just spinning around her like some arbitrary planet. God bless Pluto. Okay? Again, some of this is hunting for light, different situations, but he's not shooting this with any gear, which is why I really like Jake's work. He's not coming in there with like 16 power packs, 3 lights, 18 assistants, and like 2 techs to run these shoots. It's him, 2 cameras, and a couple of bikes. And again, like moments in the sky, who would think to shoot this in the Skytrain? Like Skytrain, everybody's like, ooh, gross. There's good images to be found there, okay? And some of them aren't perfect, some are blurry, and that's okay. You can put copy over this. Boom, this is your homepage for biking company. Problem solved. Happy mistakes, right? Okay? Just really well composed, simple thing. All following these rules. So over here, we've got that rule of line. Just, our eye wants to find this. Then we land on here because this is just off that rule of thirds. Okay? Enough of Jake's stuff. So, 8 shot types. Super straightforward. These are the 8 shot types used for every story in the world. If anybody's got any other suggestions, I'm more than open to hearing them. So, I shoot Alleycat races for fun because messengers are awesome. I think they do a great job, and they're probably the most family-oriented community in Vancouver. If you don't know a bike messenger, you're doing yourself a disservice. Okay, so this is Alan Shaw's last Alleycat he organized here in Vancouver. He is the 12th fastest bike messenger in the world. He is impossible to keep up with. I tried. It's not fun. We tried to do a photo shoot. It was... anyhow, so... shot-wise, we need to let people know where they are in the world. So you can't just shoot with a close-up of your face here. Because where are you? Like, you start telling any story, like, we went on the weekend, we were on Gravel Street, you're already setting the scene. So that's what you need to do with this. So bike race, starting here in Crab Park, we've got a little bit of the housing behind, nice waterfront, playground, all that good stuff. After that, we jump in a little closer to a medium shot, tightening up on the group. We can start to define faces now, kind of walking into the scene a little bit more. And then over here, we finally got Alan giving directions to everybody before the race started. Again, the only thing I'm changing in these shots is I'm moving my feet. You can do this with a smartphone. You can do this with a DSLR you have. You don't need to have crazy lenses to shoot good photography. You just have to be on Fitbit and be able to move a little. Okay? After that, the order kind of mixes up and depends what details you want to get. This is just a bike manifest. I simply ask one of the users to hold out in front of them. Really simple, lays out all the points they get for picking up certain objects in different parts of the city. Over here, they slow down a little bit when they have to pick their bikes up off the ground, so I thought it was a nice time to grab a portrait of somebody. Again, you can do portraits of things, people, places. It doesn't always have to have a face. It could be your pet. Sequence is a story within a story. So this is Kiyoshi. He's also nationally rated. I forgot what he placed this year. That's bad. I should know that. But anyhow, he's biking up to one of the checkpoints on his bike. He was checking to make sure he had the right stuff. We've also got a subtle use of line here by this gentleman looking at him. He's smoking a cigarette. So we look at him and are automatically led over to Kiyoshi's head because of this implied line. And last but not least, Kiyoshi's dropping off the package, getting it checked off by the wonderful volunteers they have that ran this race. An interaction is always nice. It could be people talking over food at a conference. It could be a donor giving a speech. It could be a hug. It could be people walking into your venue. There's all sorts of different interactions out there. Something where somebody is touching or is talking to someone, always a good bet for interactions. Last but not least, a closer. This is the one we have to have at the end to let everybody know things are done. Everybody's off their bikes now. They're gone. So this helps them say, okay, cool, the race is over. It's much darker. This is the end of the event. And you're not leaving people hanging with this cliffhanger of wondering if there's more images that just didn't load because their internet's bad. Okay? So, 8-shot times. So anything with an asterisk has to happen in order. And this is like following the technical rules. Obviously, if you're a storyteller, you can adjust these as you see fit. But if you want to play these out in order, you want long, medium, close. Just like any Marvels or Avenger movie, they start with a shot of the Earth, they go to New York City, they go to the Avengers building. Long, medium, close. Same thing. They're following this whole equation over and over again. Closer, the city's completely destroyed, and the Avengers walk off into the sunset so happy with the work they did. Okay? So, let's make a storyboard in 10 sentences. I need somebody's favorite Disney movie that hopefully we all know.
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Okay. What happens first in Little Mermaid? This is what you guys will be doing in 10 minutes, so you pay attention to this. Otherwise, I'm not going to help you. Okay? What happens? Little Mermaid. Tell me a story. 10 sentences. Let's go, guys. Okay. Yes, we're starting. Okay. We're starting off in the ocean because it's a mermaid story. Okay, work with me, guys. Work with me. Okay, we're starting off in the ocean, and they have some underwater kingdom. Okay, and then like her and her friends. That's a good thing. All right. So dad fight, very 2017. Okay, what happens after the dad fight?
Moping.
Moping. Good. Moping. Love it. 5 more.
Ursula.
Somebody knows. I love this. Eli. Ursula. After that, we have the boy. What's his name? Prince Charming? Is it actually Prince Charming in that one? Yeah. Wow. Okay, guys, you're a little too on point. Okay. Eric. The curse thing's lifted. Sad. Resolution. Okay, can we agree like that's the Little Mermaid in 10 sentences or less? Again, this isn't supposed to be pretty. This is going to be photography, so we don't really need to worry about the words so much. So then let's break this out into a storyboard. Okay, so we need to start with a long, medium, and close shot over here. Again, I'm not an artist. I'm so sorry for anybody who draws for a living. I'm giving you business by showing you how well I do. Okay? Ocean shot. Okay? Then over here, we've got our kingdom. Again, super tiny. Doesn't have to be special. Over here. This is just giving me a sense of the scale of all these images. How close my camera's going to be to this. Big shot of the ocean. We zoom into the kingdom. And last but not least, friends. Yeah. Fish, and what, the other one's like basically a spider with claws? Boom, nailed it. Okay, friends, those are the first 3 shots. Again, I'm not expecting you guys to draw the hell out of these. Just remember, I need these 3 things in a shot. I'm going to shoot this from super low. So, after that, we've got the dad fight. So, that's our interaction. Boom, already nailed it. So, we're going to put that as interaction. Your dad's got this crazy looking fork and, like, amazing hair. They all have amazing hair in that movie. The jealousy. The sad face. Okay? That's the dad fight. Whatever, however you want to frame this up. Then she's moping. Maybe there's, like, a really little rock over here that she's sitting on. And also amazing hair. I'm not an artist. It doesn't matter. This is the horizon line. We've got maybe a sunset in the back. But again, just a sense of scale of what's going to be in all these shots. After that, oh man, so again, we need to keep in mind the scale of what we shot every previous thing in. So Ursula, she's got a lot of tentacles. Maybe we're going to be beating the scale of her. So we're going to have Little Mermaid over here, super sad, coconut bra. Then we've got all these crazy tentacles over here. And again, they go outside the frame. Scale. We've got Ursula, just like that. And that's our scale of proportion. To let people know in the frame, that's the next person we're looking at. Eric, Prince Charming. So, oh man. Okay, horse. Because he's on a horse, Prince Charming. And then she might be here by the water. Her eyeballs, right? She sees him from the water, something like that. Oh my goodness. Right? That's a nose. That was a person. Okay? Okay, so then we've got the curse over here. So she goes from here, again, dirty, to this, legs. That transformation is happening. I don't know how you shoot that, but it's up to you. She goes from having a tail to having legs, which is great. Then she's super sad. So her eyeballs could be over here, and all those bubbles from her kind of drowning are popping up. She's super unhappy. And then last but not least, any classic Disney movie. She rides off in the sunset. Okay, again, not art, but general sense. Each one of these shots is a different distance. It's not like face, 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 face. Got a wide shot here, got another wide shot here, got close up, even more close up. So there's a lot of variety, even just in 10 images. You guys can do this over and over again for anything. Okay, there's a story within whatever you're doing. If you're doing something like boring, you're lying to yourself. Like a challenge, I'm happy to figure out. Okay? So, what time are we at now? 6:40. Oh, right on time. Well done. Okay, done that. Long shots. Perfect. So when you do your 10 list of sentences, make sure every sentence says something different. I did like words. You guys should say like Ursula meets blah, blah, blah. Like she gets sad because her tail goes to legs. All that stuff. Like you should be describing what's happening in that shot, not as like janky as I did. Again, I'm getting speed so you guys can practice this and I can give you guys feedback. Okay? So, now it's your guys' turn. Pick something simple. Don't pick something crazy. Pick an event you always do, or like your route to work in the morning, your favorite coffee shop, going there and back on lunch break. So this is good. This is the scale of how good you need to draw for this. All right? This doesn't need to be like perfect nose hairs, ear proportions. You just need a sense of, are you seeing the person's face, their whole body, in all these shots? Okay? Speed is the goal, because again, you're just trying to get a rough idea of the shots you're going to look for at this event. You don't need to perfectly show this to your boss before you go. Can you approve this shot list? That's not going to happen in a nonprofit. If you do, I want to talk to you guys, because that'd kind of be awesome. Okay? So, for example, let's go to Alleycat race. This is an example of what the first couple shots could look like. Again, on the left-hand side here, we've got all those people. We've got a little bit of city, big fat tree. Over here, we've got a couple of people in the way of the rest of the group. And last but not least, we've got Ellen. Do the drawings matter? No, because this is what the images look like afterwards, because that's the high detail stuff you get. Group there, people in the way, Alan's stupid hat. So we go from that to this. Okay? So, your guys' turn. 10 sentences first, and then a 10-frame storyboard. I know there's only 9 boxes on there, but finding a 10-frame one was not in my group. Okay, and I'll leave these shot lists up for, so I'll give you guys 12 minutes for this. Okay? I bet you it's a power. $20 says. First time I've had it die. Very impressive call. You know what I think it is? I have this problem on set. So this USB side pushes more power than the other side.
I had the exact same problem with the other clicker
Okay.
last week. And
Yeah,
I was like, I thought yours was like gonna work beautifully.
No. I think it's just the one on the power side, or it's better to run the actual receiver. It just switch. What do you think? Good? Medium rare?
No, it's fabulous. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a lap run. We'll share that out. Cookies for days. Everybody wants to. Also, this demographic. Sweet process. They're so simple. About 5 more minutes left.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping up stories and everything. Any questions from people as you did that? There's so many of you, so I can't check everybody's work. So I have 30 students in my other class. Any questions going through this? Oh, yes. For sure. What's the last event you were at? What? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, touche. Take that, customer. Everything's got a story. First of all, you're going there. So that's you're already established. Like getting into your car, you're going on the highway, you get off of this. Like there's no story, but that's already your first thing. At the event, or whatever it is, you can find all of these detail. It could be your conference badge. It could be somebody's face. The tech that carries around in their pocket. It could be a shirt. Portrait. There's going to be at least one of them. You can ask politely. Oh, for sure. Like at what scale of shoot does it kick in? For sure. All the time mentally. I don't draw this out. When I'm going to a shoot, I'm planning where those shots are probably going to be. So like all my details, that's by the case. For an event, everybody wants shots. That's content. That's how they come. You guys all know. You've been to a conference with shitty food. You want to go again? No. If it's good food, yes. And then through all that, I'm just not specifically in any order because all these ingredients below close to above closer, it doesn't matter what order they are. You're not always going to find these. Speaker shot, more interesting. Photographs better. So. Yeah, a little bit, but again, I'm looking for all these shots to go because I'm not trying to like check all these boxes. Because sometimes there's no portrait shot in what I do. The crowd doesn't like being shot, and you have to shoot so far away, like hiding behind a door. But again, this is more so something you do in the early stages of visual literacy. Because if you go again, your boss says, "Can you go cover this event for 3 hours?" What the hell do you do for 3 hours? Whereas if you have to look for this for 3 hours, you at least have a cool, I'm done. These 6 more, you're looking for less and less stuff. It's getting more and more stuff, making your job way easier and your boss way happier. You come back with a different variety of images that they can then use for the next month or 2. That helps. And like if you want to go crazy, like weddings are the best example. I have a list of hundreds of shots that I myself have to capture for clients. To capture the bride getting ready with their hair, ring. Mom walking. But it's all these components just to the expectation. Any other questions? Yes?
So what if you have, say, 4 shots?
For sure. So I would like do a sequence and a closer. As terms of like if you're trying to fit into a shot list like that, restricted on format. You want to show a little bit of variety or like progression chronologically. And then, say if it was this class, our closer would be shooting 20 minutes after you guys left, and the class would like eat crumbs on to show like Katie. Yes. For sure. Best visual resource. I would look at 500 pixels. I would also look at Getty Images editorial stock because there's already photographers out there right now shooting editorial jobs. You just search editorial stock on Google. There will be an image pack if somebody went to shoot all the Wranglers in Texas. And they did 30 images, so whatever you have to go shoot, I'm sorry to say somebody's already shot it better than you. It's just, there's so many cameras out there, that picture's been taken. but you can go through and categorically steal their entire freaking shot list. You're like, okay, I need a ranch hand in the bottom corner by a fence. Great. I need signage of the ranch. A picture of the building of the ranch. I need a big picture of a cow head. I need like the whole herd from like a cliff above the ranch. You've already developed all your shot lists, so you get there, you're not like. But yeah, the editorial packages on any of the stock websites are great reasons to kind of see the progression different photographers. Is if you ask 12 photographers how they approach photo stories, you're going to get 13. This is just my answer that works really well to teach and also. Okay?
What happens? So I am constantly interested.
Okay.
And I get.
Okay.
So stories all the time, but always.
For
So
sure.
how do I use.
Yep.
But
It can, for sure. And we were talking, sorry, your name in the back was Shannon? Okay. We were talking about this earlier. Say like you only post once a month. So what you could do is you could just work through this content list one at a time for each individual post. So March is going to be a portrait, but December is interaction. Just to provide yourself a different goal for that particular shoot. On the other side of things, if you're not specific branding for your post, you can just know all your interviews or portraits shot like 4 feet away, heads framed this way, so people know when they scan through your content, that's an interview post. Whereas over here, like this annual review, you see a picture of the front door. So you're consistent, so your users know that visual language. You're starting to. Does that help? James?
When you're sort of out and about doing sort of stories and things like this, and you're in a bit more of a less of a sort of controlled environment, and the lighting's not great, what do you do? Because I mean, things like this summer, being out and about taking an event.
Yep.
It's been bright. Weather's been great, but it was too bright to take an interesting photo. Is there any kind of tricks? Is standing in the shade a good idea, or is trying to get people in the shade and you in the light? What's the best way to do it?
So, perfect situation. If I have complete control of an uncontrolled environment, I put my subjects in shade and I shoot them into bright daylight. Because it overexposes the background and gives you a really nice look. Like Rachel shot earlier from New York. She was in the shade of the bridge, the background is super overexposed. Then it just comes down to camera settings, which are going to be no matter what. The biggest thing to know about cameras is they're trying to make everything perfectly gray. If you look at any Mac laptop, it's trying to make it just a touch darker than that. So keeping in mind that the camera wants to make everything dark, you typically want to overexpose your photographs. You have to experiment with your own gear, how much that gets pushed. Big problem you might be having is the fact your camera set on auto ISO, which is the worst thing setting by cameraman. Because it's dictating shot by shot the quality of that shot. It's like you gave a writer toilet paper one morning, printer paper the next, and canvas the third. What the hell? That's what ISO auto is doing. So turn it off and pick consciously. Any other questions? Cool, about that time, now I'll do a wrap up here. Fun fact for any Mac users, the left-hand side where the power cord goes in, there's more power to that USB output. So that's where you plug things. They need to have a feed of power. That's why this clicker is working. Fun fact. So, shameless plug here. I love to do photography, one-on-one tutoring with students, and also this stuff, corporate group training. Anybody, please pass them on. I've got cards on the cookie table. But now let's just talk about all things photography, because we have 22 minutes. Nope, 17 minutes. Until Eli's going to kick me off of this. Yes, April.
what are some ideas for shots one-on-one person captured?
For sure. So there's always something interesting about people. There was a photo story done in New York where a photographer knew that was going to be the case, and they just got people to empty pockets. So they did portraits of people based on what they carry around with them on an everyday basis. Like cell phone charger, a whole bunch of pens, paper clips, candies, gum, and they laid that all out on the sidewalk wherever they shot them, and bang, that was that person. If it comes down to anonymity, you can do a little bit with depth of field, but some people can know their friend even though they're a little fuzzy. So you might just focus on a detail of them, like their hands, or their shoes, or you could even just break the rule and just shoot the back of their head and like silhouette that a little bit more to give them some more like personality feel. Yeah, pick a small area of them, like somewhere where a joint hits, or like their necklaces, jewelry. Just pick one theme about them, and that's what you're going to capture. And ask them if they're comfortable. Like, hey, what's the funnest thing about you that doesn't involve your face? Like, people they know themselves. So be like, oh, well, I've got these tattoos on. Like, people wear these big button ups. They've got this crazy ink on them. Like, you wouldn't know unless. Okay? Anything. I will talk about anything photography.
I have it. So I have my iPhone, like some SLR
Okay?
camera. I always have, so I can, but I'm trying my, like, oh, maybe use our camera.
My suggestion would be whatever you're going to take.
Right. Yeah.
I walked across Scotland last spring. I brought my DSLR for one day of that walk. And I hated it. So I just brought my phone and my GoPro after that. I carry that around me. Easier to pull out, faster. Photographer, I use the phone. But again, it's whatever tools shots less forward, especially when they're saying DSLR, maybe the reason your campaign is your file size, but even out of the print, like pretty comfortable on any smartphone. Yeah, exactly. You need to like nail the exposure. Smartphones are much more a compositional tool than they are a photography tool. Steve Jobs saves the exposure, he figured all that out for you. If anybody's got a smartphone right now and doesn't know this trick, if you pull it out right now, fun thing to fix. If you point your cameras at me, maybe some of you know this and it's more improved, but like some people, oh my god, they're like, no. So if you frame me up and you press your finger on the darkest part of the screen and hold it, a little menu should pop up, and then you can scroll up and down with your finger to control the exposure.
What?
So if it's ever too dark, that's how you fix that. Okay? Has anybody not got that working? Because it's one of the quickest things that...
I can't see the whole thing.
You come up here. Okay? Anybody else want some help? It works? Walked away with one good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's like
Oh, question. Android should do it too. It might do it like Android. Or you might have to turn it on. That's what it should do. It might just be focused. Biggest thing is don't you? All right, so you can play with your cameras later at the bar with free drinks with Eli and me. You got a question? Hey guys, you might want to know the answer.
Oh. Maybe I don't. Still good.
Um, so you could take some simple stock and make a vision out of it, and like kind of create a story around high school stock shot of drugs, stats. So it's really quick for glance rather than just one whole. Because you're putting a lot of meat into that image that people might not necessarily latch onto right away. So if you had, there's tons of places for stock. There's Burst on Shopify's website. They basically have a whole bunch of free commercial stock that you can use to start up a store, but borrow copy. For whatever you want to use it for, it's burst.shopify.com. There's also another website called unsplash.com. I'm just talking about. Yeah. Unsplash is great. It's all free commercial level work promoted by photographers and free to use if you want. Log on like that. There's portraits, there's architecture, there's landscape, a whole bunch of things on Unsplash, even if you're just looking for. But yeah, I wouldn't rely on just one image then, since it is an article talking about a topic. You kind of make it more of a graphic to show people the results of that data without specifying. The thing after that, the funny thing, it's overdone. It's like shot up sharp in the front and ball in the back. So there's different ways to approach that. Again, perspective. Like the camera's always on. Shoot that from above. You like scale the bottle and make the car. Yes.
When you're looking at doing sort of the depth, is it better to walk into an image, or is it better to zoom in on the camera to make a difference?
I would err on the side of walking. I have a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. I only use it at 24 mil or 70 mil. I don't use the middle range. It's basically our eyes perspective, and it's super boring. So I either shoot super wide and I walk around, or I zoom in more for candid shots, like people interacting and talking. An exercise like this, then it gives me a little more range. And also, I have a constraint. Right now, if you have a camera that's 50 millimeters to 300, you can shoot so many different shots from the same spot. And all you're doing is cropping into the image. If you move your feet, that changes the reference. And plus, like after 7 minutes of an event, people forget. Like you're annoying at first, but like I just lean in. Like people know I'm obviously not. In the beginning, I was in the way of the projector, but I'm not gonna like stand in front of it. Like I'm gonna shoot from here for 20 minutes. I'd be like, I need a shot here, click, and then I'd keep walking to the back of the room, take another shot, and plan the next place I want to be and the shot I want to take from there before I move in. To purposely walk to. Everybody else? 7 minutes. Yes. Like from getting a promotion at work to take over the aspect of things, or I know. I talk to them every day. yeah. I've got a cousin who. Oh, great.
Maybe a great job. Because I have the opposite problem. I can't take. Again, everybody can take.
For sure, I would. The way I make the argument with my clients is I pull image asset they're on a website and I crush it, and I show them side by side like what comes. It's very clear the difference. Like you just might not be at the point where you want to spend the money on that because you just have what. But Nordstrom, they have to spend entirely. They didn't have that. Even Oak Ridge, like Oak Ridge. Anybody work at Oak Ridge? Okay, good. I can slam Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge is not like the fashion capital of Vancouver. I don't know why there's a branding campaign, but every promo ad is like high fashion, people walking off boxes and clothes none of us wear for like a Vancouver mall. But that's how they branded themselves. So when people think about Oak Ridge, they think high fashion. Even though you walk through Oak Ridge, we've all been to Oak Ridge, right? Like, come on. It's Crate and Barrel and it used to be a theater. It's not high fashion. Hey, but again, it's how they want to state themselves up. It's how they want. You want to be remembered as like a higher brand. That's what. So yes, it is super difficult, but you need to show them the comparables we got right now with our smartphones. This is what one photographer for 2 days shooting stock, 250 will cover us for the rest of. Anybody else? How do I convince them? For sure. So I'm shameless. I'm a great camera flirt, terrible bar flirt. You need to make people feel good. Like, because the last experience they had was probably, who doesn't like their picture? Yeah, it sucks, because if it sucks, it's out on the internet, everybody sees you looking bad. It's not good. Whereas I promise my clients, I'm not gonna put anything up that I wouldn't want shown. Okay, and I'm gonna pick the best like, I'm not responsible. If you look good, I get more business. So it's not in my best interest to make you look bad, unless you're like a politician. Okay? But again, you need to convince them by like repeated projects. When I show my clients for portraits, I send them 10 people I've shot with. These are all people that hated their pictures. Do they look ugly? But then we show this track record that you're not trying this the first time. You're really good at this, and I'm honest with my clients about my process. I talk to them. I say, we're going to talk. We're not going to just sit here on a chair. I want to know about you. I ask them stupid questions. I work with Adam and Kev, who have a great list of things they usually ask people. Like, for example, would you rather be a giant hamster or a tiny rhino? And then people go, they like think about it, and that's that honest, candid expression. I let them know I'm going to catch them blinking, sneezing, all those things, and I'm just going to call the cream out of that. I'll show them like they are with their friend, rather than this thing. We've all seen that shot, right? Because they practiced in here for hours that morning. And I just throw that garbage out, because I don't want to see this. Like, that's not them. I was like, what'd you do on the weekend? Cool, like, you hike, and you like help build trails. What's that like? How many people are in your team? I want to get to know them and get them comfortable enough to be honest facially. It takes practice. You start with friends. Some people that are forced to do it, you have like 2 minutes. Like when I work with like C-level executives, they're there, they set up the lights and everything in a block. 3 frames in, they're done now. So at that level, but they know it's a necessity. Everybody else? 4 minutes. Yes?
How? For like style.
You're gonna find what you like. So shoot the way you like, because that's why people hire me. Because I've now been, so I've got to a very consistent product that I can look through my book in the last 10 to 15 of my jobs look like they were shot by me. Or much earlier in my career, I just kind of shot to. So I don't like a lot of depth. I don't like really high contrast. So that dictates what I do with clients. So they're not surprised when this is not like exactly the way you shot the last bit. You're not scaring them by something. Maybe you try something to test. Say, hey, I shot this in addition. I promise. Would you like that? And then you have an example to show you next time. I'd like to try this for the whole project. Humans.
Balance.
Oh boy. Okay. So in this room, these are daylight balance CFLs. So white balance. White balance refers to the way we see light. So right now, this room is technically a little warmer than daylight. So auto white balance, same as ISO auto, the devil, terrible. Once you walk through a door frame, reset your white balance to whatever lights are in that room. It's either going to be incandescent, those bulbs with the screwy little wire thing inside, or fluorescents, which are those big tubes in your office ceilings. Incandescent lights are nice and orange. They help with people's facial glow. Fluorescents are green, terribly ugly, don't look good on anything. So that helps the images look and register colors the way we would with our eyes. Our eyes are amazing tools. Our cameras are not good. So yeah, every time you walk through a door frame, change your white balance for whatever. That's my rule. That helps?
So you're using little still balance the number.
No, I totally set based on those presets. Yeah.
So like the sunshine and the
Sunshine, the big bulby thing,
Yeah.
the big like strip.
cloud.
Totally.
So what would
So in here, I'd say daylight leaning a little bit maybe towards tungsten. Because these are balanced for daylight, but you're probably going to get the best results with that. They're not full tungsten. But if you go over there, like they just redid the lights in here, so they're all pretty even. A couple of years ago, they used to be kind of like green over here, red over there. It was a total nightmare to shoot in. So under daylight should be good. I look white-ish, obviously. Oh, 2 people. Not take yourself seriously. Okay. Yeah. Every time you walk through a door frame, you should be changing your ISO and the lighting. Last really good question. A minute and 15 seconds left.
Yeah, so I'm a really keen amateur. Where do I go to find a community where I can, like, you know, balance, like, play with these ideas and get feedback?
For sure. So yes, Eli, I haven't. I go to college. The thing with photography is there's so much online. You guys know that. Like, you can Google any technique you want. The issue with photography is the fact that there's a whole new language that you have to learn to access all that material. It's like learning Portuguese and then reading Portuguese camera manual. If you don't know Portuguese, that camera manual is going to suck. So I totally recommend, if you only have part-time, like the CS program's great at Langara. It's 3 hours once a week for 12 weeks. As for outdoor learning outside of that, there's Vancouver photo workshops, which is really cool. They do short-term projects as well. They're down at 7th and Ontario. It all depends on your level of commitment. There's people, touring photographers, that come in and do weekend workshops. They're at like the $100 mark though. So it really depends whose style you like, who you want to copy. And also you can always, people are always looking for assistance to help out on set. But again, you have to kind of have that baseline knowledge of what's going on and be helpful. You're not just there to learn, you're there to produce value. Yeah, I have a lot of students, just like Josh, he went through my program at Langara, and now he understands all those online resources. So he wants to find out more about depth of field. All that class gave him the foundation to be able to look up and find and see why he would use this one. Is this a bad resource? Is this actually what they're talking about? Or do they just want to like boast online to their followers? Thank you guys so much. Again, if you ever have any questions, please do reach out. I felt so alone in the beginning of the industry because I had no one to email. Super dad. And I love answering emails. So business cards on the back, and I'm going to be out for drinks if people have any camera questions in their bags. And thank you very much.
Sweet, thank you.